everyone, my name is Beckett and welcome back to the channel, and we got another Division 2 video for you today. Today we are going to be making another build. We have a Ridgeway's Pride build. It finally got buffed and it is insane. It is feeling like Nomad set from back in Division 1. If any of you old vets remember that, I feel like I can't die and it's just non-stop push. So let's get into the video, but before we do, if you like the content, hit that subscribe, and if you enjoy the video, smash that like button. Now, before Ridgeway's Pride even got buffed, I was testing out this build just to see how it performed before it got buffed, and it was already doing amazing. I was already shredding. I was struggling a little bit in legendary content, but in heroic, I was just smashing. There were a few times where I had to do a lot of weaving just to kind of stay alive, and other times when I would just die, and I know if I had that extra healing, even if I had like 5 or 10% extra armor regeneration coming through, that I would have survived that. But now we're going to have double the armor regeneration, so we're never going to die and we're not going to have to deal with that issue. So let's get into the playstyle of this build. All right, so we are going to be combining Ridgeway's Pride along with the Hunter's Fury gear set, and it's already aggressive set, but with Ridgeway's Pride we're going to step it up just that little bit, notch more, and we're going to be pushing hard. Not only are we going to be pairing the exotic chest with the Hunter's Fury set, but we're also going to be pumping it up with the Chatterbox, where when we reload within 15 meters, we get an insane RPM buff to our gun. So 15 meters from our gun, 15 meters close when we're with the Hunter's Fury set, and 15 meters to apply a bleed to start that healing from the chest piece. You can see where all this synergy is coming together. Now this puts us into a situation where we're in a high risk, high reward, and I love these situations, this kind of gameplay. It puts it on a kind of a high skill ceiling, so it might not be for you and you might struggle with it, but once you got it down, you're gonna be in love and just non-stop. It's just getting used to the whole rotation of going in, CCing, reloading, stunning again, and just unloading on the enemy. And then when our CC is down, we are gonna be using cover a lot, but we're gonna be in close range, so that's not gonna be a problem. We're still gonna be proccing everything, but we have to be smart. This is not a build you can face tank, so do not treat it like that. There are situations where we can, and that is when your CC is up, but when it is down, you need to be like Muhammad Ali. You need to be shaking, weaving, kiting these guys around, and as soon as your CC is back up, go in and start that burst period all over again. All right, now into the build. So starting off specialization, we are going to be running gunner, rate of fire, armor on kill. Although we already have 20%, I like to have the 30% because every time we kill somebody, we are taking away a bleed and therefore taking away healing. So I want to make it feel beneficial and not feel like I'm sacrificing something. And Riot Foam Grenade always comes in handy for those CC purposes. Now for the primary, we are going to be using the Chatterbox. And if you didn't know, the Chatterbox comes stacked pretty high with crit, but the main talent is whenever you reload, your rate of fire is increased by 20% for each enemy within 15 meters for the duration of that magazine, and kills refill 50% of your magazine. You can see where that 15 meter thing is coming in. Now secondaries really don't matter. We're never really going to be switching that often unless something's really at range and we can't really push or close the gap, and that's why I like using Baker's Dozen. It has perfect lucky shots, so when I'm in cover, all my shots are refunded, and if I'm in close range situations, I'll switch over to the Mop real quick just for that extra 10% armor on kill, so when you're having a bad day, you can switch over and recover quickly. Now for gear, we're going to be running the 4-piece Hunter's Fury set, and we're also going to be running a Grupo backpack, but you can also go with the Sokolov. I just felt like critical hit damage was much more important for this build. Even though it is low, we are going to be looking for that talent Vigilant. It is going to pump up our damage. Now, since we're going to be running 6 reds, we're going to need something to keep us alive other than 20% armor on kill. That's where Ridgeway's come into play. Now, if you're looking at this is the old Ridgeway's. It will be buffed tomorrow. I just shot this before, but I will tell you what is changing. So shooting enemies within 15 meters, not 10 meters, applies a bleed to the target, and it repairs 3 to 48% of your armor per second for every bleeding enemy within 15 meters, not 10 meters. So it's 3 to 48%. At one target, it's 3%. At 2 targets, it's 6%. At 3, it's 12. At 4, it's 24. And at 5 is 48. The ideal number is we want to keep at least 3 bleeding all the time. That's going to be huge. That's going to be 12% armor regeneration. Tanks wish they had that much armor regeneration. Now for our skills. So this is going to change depending if we're in an open world scenario or if we're in a mission, let's say like Roosevelt Island, where it's very big, a lot of open areas, and we need to close gaps so we can get within 15 meters of a target. And that's where the blinder firefly is. We can just throw it out real quick. It's going to blind it. We can run in. It's going to close our gap. And as soon as we get close enough, we can reload and hit our Banshee pulse and just start murdering everything. Now, there are different scenarios when we are in close quarter combats and in other missions, and it can get quite crazy, and it's kind of hilarious because this is way too overpowered. We are going to be using the shock trap. Now, since in this build, in each room, every time we enter, we are going to be running straight to the spawn. Knowing positions on the maps and where they're going to spawn is a good thing, but you can always just look at your radar. As soon as something clears out, look on your radar, and that's where you need to run. And if you get it to the point where they're just coming out of the doors and you drop a shock trap right there, lasts for 60 seconds, you can just stand it in one place and just unload for 30, 40, 50, 60 seconds nonstop. I'm only recommending this in small area missions where we're constantly inside. Air and Space Museum, Federal Emergency Bunker are good situations where we can just throw that shock trap, where we know enemies are just going to keep spawning and spawning and spawning until the room is cleared. Now for our second skill, we are going to be using the Banshee Pulse, and we are always going to have this equipped and always going to be using this on cooldown. Ideally when there's 3 or 4 enemies in front of us, but we're going to be using always our CCs on cooldown. Try to chain them together, because sometimes you can get a CC chain going 10, 15, 20 seconds, and a CC target does no damage. Always remember that. CC target, no damage. It doesn't matter. And you can't do damage if you're dead, so better just CC. Now I was running this at a 500 shade level, and you don't need 1000 shade level, but it will make it easier. You can run this at lower, but you definitely will see the downsides. Now when it comes to stats, it's pretty easy. Just hit that 60 critical hit chance cap, and then put everything else in critical hit damage, and that's all you have to worry about. Now, not everything can be rainbow and sunshine, so let's get into the good and the bad of this build. Start off with the good. Now, this build has extremely high damage, crazy burst, very fast, very engaging, but it really struggles when it comes to dealing with one target or chungas, mostly chungas. That's the one thing that I deal with more than anything. The big fat tank bosses, I just struggle with them. And when it's 1v1, it is even worse. Also, when you're dealing with rogue encounters, especially solo group, it's really not that big of a deal. But if you run into one solo, you are going to struggle. And if you make one wrong move, you push too far in, or they get a good flank on you and it's just a bad rogue spawn, you're gonna have a bad day and you're gonna wipe. Now with this build, you can put out a metric ton of damage really quick, but you need to know the maps, you need to know the missions, you need to know where the spawns are and where they're going to come from. Treat this like you are the leader of your squad. You are the tank. Everybody needs to follow you. You need to be the first to engage, the first to do anything, first to throw your blinder so you can get in there and start your buffs, because if everybody gets all spread out and you can't connect to more than 1 or 2 targets, you're not going to put out any damage, and you might just end up dying just because you can't keep your armor regen up, and it just kind of spirals downhill, and we don't have revive hive, so you're screwed. And if you're running solo, you're even in a worse situation. But that is the build. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you get a chance to try it out, let me know how it goes. Remember, this is a very fast-paced Adderall build, so be prepared, and good luck guys, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for sticking around this long, and if you want to see some footage of Ridgeway's Pride post-patch, stick around, and there's a little footage I left around for you guys.